I know I should have made this video months ago when I made my why Linux is better than Windows video, but hey, guess what? I'm making it now, so does that. But if you're watching this video, you're probably on Windows, and you'll hear the switch to Linux in some way, and you're done with this Microsoft AI swap, but you also want to use programs that are not just a browser. I'm looking at you, Mac. Or you just want to use something that's open source. So today, I will teach you how to switch from Windows to Linux. Alright, so the first thing you need to do if you're on Windows and you want to switch to Linux, like for example I have in this VM right here, is this program known as Rufus, which is pretty much basically USB thumb drives for Windows devices, switching over to Linux with Linux ISOs. So we're going to install it right here. This is just the top one, and we got the exe running right here. But to actually run this exe, we need to have a Linux ISO. So we're just going to use Linux Mint as the example right here. We're actually going to download it right now. And it gives us multiple options like Cinnamon, which is the basic one, XFCE, which is meant for like more lightweight, low-power devices, and Mate, which is mostly meant for like if you want that traditional feel and slightly less power. But if you want low power, then XFCE is the way to go. If you have a decent amount of power or a lot, definitely go with Cinnamon. And that's the one that we're going to be going with here. And there's all these ISO downloads, so we're just going to go with this one right here, Linux Mint. And we're going to wait till it's done.
One eternity later.
One disturbing Twitter thread and a PC overheat later, and I finally got it installed. So you want the program Rufus. Yeah, obviously one is administrator. Yeah, check for updates. Fuck nah, I just want to get this over with. So what I do now is I pin the ISO file. I just pick the select button, and I pick the Linux Mint ISO. The thing is, the reason why all these options are still grayed out, even the advanced options, is because I didn't put a USB thumb device. And my virtual machine, I didn't get USB set up, so I can't really put a virtual USB thumb drive inside of this. Though for Linux Mint, I do recommend a 16 gigabyte or 32 gigabyte, especially for the latest version. So what you do now is click ready or store, and then you install it with your USB thumb drive. So I do like to mention this, once you put it on, it's there forever. You can't replace it with another ISO file, but it still will always be bootable as long as you have it, until you like destroy it or some shit. Now keep the USB in your computer and hit the escape key to get to the BIOS screen, and hit whatever key takes you to the bootloader on your BIOS screen, and select the Linux distro that you ever put in. And for Linux Mint, it will say Ubuntu, but that will not be a problem at all. So once you fully get in, you just get put inside this virtual space. Well, once you restart it, everything just resets to what you see right now. If you want to install it, you can just click this little disk icon right here. I'll go through the install process in a moment, but I'd like to show this new start menu I saw, which is kind of interesting from the last time I used Mint. Since I use Debian now, I don't really see this, but that's kind of interesting. I'm not a biggest fan. I prefer like the older one better, but this does get the job right. But I still think that the older one was cleaner. And it actually shows your profile picture. How nice. So we're going to click on the disk right here, which will take a second to load. Yeah, see, you see a little wheel right there? Yeah, that means that's loading. It will take a while since I'm inside a VM, though it would take long as well if you were in USB. Alright, so I'm in now, and first thing to show you is your language. You click continue. Then you click the keyboard output, which is obviously US. Well, no shit it is, because, well, I'm in America. And then we gotta install media codecs. This is optional, but apparently to play some video formats, and apparently to properly render some websites, which I find interesting. So we're just gonna put that just in case. Preparing Ubuntu drivers. Yeah, again, Mint is based off Ubuntu. And this tutorial is mostly meant if you're just installing Mint. For other distros, I'm not making a separate one for like every single distro and desktop environments, since that would take forever, but most people will go with Mint, so might as well do that one. So now we got to the installation screen, which you go out and do one of two things here. You go out and just erase the disk and install Linux Mint. This will do the original install though, whatever Windows or like Linux that you used beforehand. Or you can do something else, which is usually just a dual boot. There are some advanced features for this though. Use LVM to install Linux Mint. Hell no. So, yeah, if you're running Windows and you just go with this, just be prepared to delete everything. So I do recommend backing it up first. So we're going to click install now. Yeah, it features all these partition things or whatever. I don't really care about that right now. Alright, so now it shows your location based on time zone. For example, I live in the Eastern time zone since I live on the East, so I'm just going to go with that one. It just says New York because the New York time zone. I don't really care. I'm just going to put my name as Mint. Just put everything as Mint. Okay, I'm probably just going to delete this VM afterwards anyway. Click continue. And now it's installing. You can play with this little preview thing where it says, welcome to Linux Mint. Well, it gives you some things like browse the web. Well, apparently there's a Netflix thing right here. That's kind of interesting. I didn't realize that Netflix worked on Linux Mint. That's nice. Though it is like really normie based, so that's why they probably promote Netflix on here. But for most of the normies that are probably watching this channel, or excuse me, Goyams, fine with Netflix. Even though it's filled with Goysop. And we got even more Goysop in the form of Spotify. Alright. But I prefer the download music and apparently this rhythm boxing, which is playing by the VLC and MP3, but worse. Then we got more bass ones like MPV and VLC, very nice music players. And we got some drawing programs like Pix, just a basic drawing program, GIMP and Inkscape. I prefer Krita, but still. Then we got some connected apps like WhatsApp, Slack, Discord, and even Signal. I find Signal very nice, especially since I use Signal like all the time. I don't know how they need WhatsApp on here though. They must be using like a front end or something. And then we got like the Office, yeah, we bring Office, whatever. Then we got like install other software like Google Earth, Dropbox, Blender, and Steam, which are again most normies would use like most of these. Probably not the Google Earth app, but still. Then we got one's Windows software where I want to create VirtualBox and Wine. And well, customize your desktop. Yeah, I'm not going for all these. And yeah, that's like the last one for installation. I'm gonna get back to you once this is all done.
One eternity later.
Congratulations! Now we have officially installed Linux Mint on our machine. So let's go. We got some steps right here. So want some pretty basic programs like documentation, hell, contribute, whatever the hell. And now you're official on Linux Mint, and you can basically do whatever you want inside this. You don't have to worry about that reboot thing, like in the, like the virtual environment thing or whatever the hell. So we're one of NeoFetch, yep, we're in for realsies. So yeah, welcome to your new Linux Mint installment. If you haven't installed it yet, well, guess what? Now you do. Now go install Linux distro, most likely Mint because, well, again, you watch it, mess around with it, and have a good one. Keep using Linux, my brothers, and I'll see you guys next time.